All right. This is Don Self in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Here we are.
Who are you?
I'm Gabby. Gabby Self.
Gabby and Don.
I look a little rough. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. I feel a little rough.
Sam.
You notice I don't have a mustache?
Yeah, why'd you shave it off?
We were trimming the back of my neck and I forgot to put the guard back on. So I had a stripe right down the middle. So got rid of it. So we're going Amish.
Amish?
Yeah. So if there's ever a title that's going to catch your attention, I figure pedophilia might be one of those because it's one of those trending subjects right now with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine.
Galstein? Good. Yeah, I don't know how to say her name, but I always see it as like Galstein or I don't know.
I think I've heard Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
So it's like
one of the
pick a better way or an easier way of having your name.
Maybe abbreviation. I don't know.
So there were a couple of things that I posted recently where I thought that we can trace back some of the issues when it comes to this pedophilia and pedophilia ring. Pedophilia has been around for centuries. It's
that Greek god? That Greek god? Was that
which Greek god?
The one that was on Podesta's Instagram profile. He was a Greek god that felt like loved little boys, or whatever.
Oh, well, the Greek gods are all creepy. They're a very incestuous group. But there's something that they did back in Greece called pederasty. And it was where adult men would take on male children, students, and they would teach them all about life. And it was typically a sexual relationship as well. And it just kind of continued.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's been around for a very, very long time. Sigmund Freud, who's considered to be the father of psychoanalysis and considered to be a saint among the mental health profession, first identified that many of his clients who were middle-aged white females who had hysteria all had childhood sexual abuse. And so his first theories were that that's what was causing the hysteria. Well, according to the story, there was political pressure brought to bear on him, and he changed his theory to unconscious sexual fantasies of the child. So he took the responsibility away from the adults and put it on the children, and just completely ignored that all of his clients were sexually assaulted as children.
Interesting.
And we find that to be true in the mental health field, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I've worked with people who have gone through those things. Then we have Alfred Kinsey. You've heard of Kinsey?
Familiar,
Yeah, Kinsey did the reports on male sexuality and female sexuality that pretty much started the sexual revolution. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with his research study, especially the male one. Primarily, 25% of his sample population came from prisons and male prostitutes.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about this. Okay.
That's a problem because in those populations, we wouldn't consider them to be average sexuality.
Or accurate to average.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of what happens in prisons, prison rape is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, watch Orange is the New Black. It's in there.
Yeah.
They didn't just make that show for shits and giggles, I guess.
And I know you probably come across, I think it was in Orange is the New Black. It was Gay for the Stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even men and women who were not gay and lesbian would engage in those behaviors. And then male prostitutes, again, not necessarily average sexuality. So that was one of the biggest things that he did. But he also, if you look at the male study, no one reads it. It's boring. It's full of a bunch of charts and stuff. I've looked at it. I mean, you can barely even find a copy. So Hugh Hefner, who praised Kinsey, he didn't read it. He just knew, we're all about sex and it helps sell magazines.
So he's Playboy.
Yeah. But if you look at the charts in there, there's a chart 34.
Mm.
And chart 34 is about the orgasmic potential of children. Orgasmic potential of children.
Why is that even a thing?
Well, because he relied on 2 pedophiles who perpetrated on hundreds of children for the information in that research.
Wow.
And it's in the book. I think there are children on that chart, even as young as 2 years of age. And Kinsey, if Freud was the father of psychoanalysis and he was the saint of mental health, well, look at what Kinsey was. And he was celebrated. He was feted as this amazing guy. And I saw the movie Kinsey, and it was celebrating the life of Kinsey, and I saw absolutely nothing to celebrate. And there's a lot of, I've read some of his work. I've read some of his compatriots' work. One of the books that I got as a child, I was probably about 12 years old, was called Boys and Sex.
Jesus.
It was written by one of his contemporaries named Pomeroy. And Pomeroy even put in the book that sexual activity between a child and an adult, he suggested that it may be beneficial to the child.
How?
That's a good question. But there are organizations like NAMBLA. Are you aware of NAMBLA?
Mm-mm.
North American Man-Boy Love Association.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was I've heard of the title.
Yeah, look it up. It's not like South Park. South Park, it was the North American Marlon Brando Look-alike Association. Good episode, by the way. Lots of confusion. But with NAMBLA, right now, NAMBLA and members of NAMBLA and people in our society are attempting to get pedophilia to be considered a sexual orientation.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
I'm hearing
seeking, and what that means is they're now seeking civil rights protections for their sexual orientation.
But why? I don't know. My theory on that is just like all the big, big names or big whoever out there can casually do what they want and still be protected by it.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we're fighting against. And honestly, based on my experience of issues like this, I could see potentially one day them actually getting that. I could see that.
As bad as it sounds, but they've pretty much made everything else oblivious to us anyways. So I don't know. I feel like though there is a widespread community of people who don't want that too. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, all over my feed is about the pedophile ring right now.
Mm-hmm.
And which is amazing because finally, it's coming to light. At least people are talking about it and sharing information that other people might not have seen. So now, they're getting this information of some more stuff that they can put their head to.
Mm-hmm.
But like we had mentioned, there needs to be some sort of action.
Yeah. And so, what would be the first step?
I don't know, become Batman. Vigilante squad. No, I'm
That
just
would be
kidding.
so cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'll take my samurai swords and
I'll use the little one. I'm just kidding.
well, we got a couple of staffs here, so maybe we could use those
There's
as
some
well.
tools.
But I think what you said earlier about being informed. So you're posting things, I'm posting things for people to actually read them and to learn some things because there's things that you can go out and do. I don't think I'm going to become Batman.
No,
I think that'd be really cool. I'd love to be a superhero.
that'd be sweet.
I could
Kick ass.
like Kick-Ass. Yes. I've been watching Green Arrow.
Oh, nice.
Excuse me. And I think I'm on season 5. But the first step would be get informed,
Mhm.
not just about the subject matter, but also find out what's happening in your community. Find organizations that you can support. So no, we're not going to become superheroes and start busting up stuff. but there are organizations in the world that are actually doing the work of stopping trafficking, sex trafficking in general, the exploitation of children. One of them is, I've posted it on Facebook a few times. I think it's under the Underground Railroad Project.
Oh yeah.
And it seems to be a coalition of law enforcement officers that they do this. I don't even know. It may be even in their spare time, but they're actually out there. So that would be one thing, would be to be informed. Another one would be to find organizations that you could support financially, if not through volunteer work or whatever it might look like. And a third thing would, I lost it. I forgot what it was. Doggone it. See, this is why we need to write things down.
Yeah.
Get
a little whiteboard or something.
We'll do that for the next time. And I think this is an important enough topic. We could probably do a few of these videos. We're going to try and keep them a little bit shorter so that, it's less.
You can watch them.
Yeah. And, we'll get a little bit more organized and provide stuff. So get informed, support organizations that do actual work and not just, creating awareness. It's like, well, I'm aware.
Now what?
Now what? Let's do something about it. That's always been, every time I hear people talk about creating awareness, it just drives me nuts. It's like, okay, I'm aware now. What now? What are we going to do?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Put your hands up. I'm ready.
I
do have a website that I do want people to check out. Like, as horrific as the events that these people have gone through, I actually had to dig very, very deep for a lot of the information. I had to get on Reddit. As crazy as it sounds, I got on WikiLinks, and I had to get a browser that was secured so that I'm not being tracked down to find any of this stuff. But it's very interesting that you have to go through those extremes to even get this kind of information in the first place. But on Reddit, I did find a lady by the name of Fiona Barnett, and she actually was living in Australia at the time that she was first abused, but first taken into the pedophile ring. She was abused, I think, it was either 2 months or 2 years old. I actually think it was 2 months old because she was born into it, because her mom and her dad wasn't actually her dad, but there's just a very long story that she has about the things that she has gone through. And if you can stomach it, go look at it, because as crazy as, the stuff and information that you're seeing on Facebook and social media, that is to the bone of probably the deepest information you could get about it, because she was there. And granted, that is in Australia, that isn't in the United States, but it is here too. Mm-hmm. It's not just, in one place or another. They're all the same, and they are all connected to each other. They all, what Ricky Jarvis's thing, he calls out pretty much, all of them. All of them.
That was hilarious.
And then they were all just stunned, shook that he even spoke that way in general. And who knows, what kind of backlash he got from them after. We don't know. We don't know.
He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care either. And that's the cool part, because that's the thing. We need to not care what kind of backlash we're going to get if we talk out about it, because this is the truth. This is our reality, and this is what's going on. And there's nothing, they can tell us that is wrong, that, oh, don't believe it. It's just woo woo,
And so for the unfortunate part, when you hear things about people like Fiona Barnett, automatically there are people in the society that call it's a conspiracy theory. It's fake news. I mean, there are so many taglines that are out there. But here's the reality. We have been so conditioned in our society to automatically assume, if you say the words conspiracy theory, to reject it. It's conditioning.
Or
And-
same with pedophile.
And I mean, think about how many conspiracy theories there are out there that have been not debunked in the way that they are conspiracy theories, but they've come out to be true. And again, when people hear conspiracy theory, I'm going to reject that.
Maybe it should be prophesize, because it's really just like, we're kind of seeing things before they do come to light.
Mhm.
And it's not even about like a conspiracy that it might not be real, or a theory that, could turn out to be real or isn't real at all. But if it's prophesized, like it technically was,
Mhm.
UFOs are real now. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed any of the conspiracy theorists or crazy people, whoever the heck you want to call them. But then, they're coming out about Pizzagate and stuff, and everybody was like, no, it's fake. And then now we're like, is it?
Mhm.
Is it though?
Well, so I think we need to start conditioning ourselves to, instead of rejecting offhand something, instead we have to look at it and say, does this have any merit? Is there a kernel of truth to it? And actually do investigating and encourage authorities, people who know, to actually investigate these things to find out the truth behind this stuff. Because the reality is also, if these conspiracy theories are true, the people behind it are incredibly powerful. And they, in many ways, control media. And, it's time to stop that. It's
Hopefully
time.
this even posts on Facebook. That would be a real kicker if it didn't.
I would appreciate that.
I feel like their tags though, like, and certain URLs and stuff, like,
Uh-huh.
and the like, I don't know, that there's some weird algorithm in social media even these days. Like, it's worse now because when I say something in my phone, I want some new shoes.
Mhm.
Some new shoes pop
Oh, yeah.
up as an ad on my Instagram or my
yeah.
Facebook. Like, could you imagine, like, I don't know, like these big powerful people just talking about this
Mhm.
stuff, and then they're like, oh, here's an ad and let's go
Mhm.
do this or that. Like, that's terrible. Why
Yeah.
is it even out there?
Yeah.
Like,
I was looking up mattresses, and all of a sudden mattresses are all over Facebook. Well, thank you, Facebook. I appreciate that.
thanks,
You
but no
can
thanks.
you can remove the ads now. We actually purchased a mattress. We're good. So yeah, it's time to take these things seriously. It's time to inform ourselves, because I've posted before. Child abuse of all forms is it's preventable. Yeah, how more preventable do you need? Don't abuse kids. Ta-da!
Solution. It's on a little platform and nobody's going for it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we should talk more about this stuff and get more information out, be a little bit more organized.
Well, I have a lot of information. If anybody wants to come in, if you're really, really invested or, really a lot more curious than what social media is giving you, I have too much information.
So what we're going to do is we're going to post this on Facebook, share it to your crew, get other people to share it, and just let people know that there'll be more stuff like this coming up.
Cool.
Anything else?
No.
All right.
Short and sweet.
Laters. Okay.